What is going on, everybody? It's Matt Marchese, also known as Islanders Daily, back with your daily news from the four-time Stanley Cup champions, New York Islanders. And today's a more so quiet kind of episode. Not a lot of things happened. We talked about it yesterday, the Islanders getting blown out by the New Jersey Devils in preseason, but again, nothing to worry about. Essentially an NHL versus AHL matchup. I think the Islanders wanted to see how their players compared, their younger players compared to the talent of the Devils as they had their whole team essentially playing. And the talent did not really match up well besides Cal Ritchie, who I thought played a wonderful game, Emil Heineman and Simon Holmstrom, and that was kind of really it of all the players who performed well. And we'll go more into that in a little bit. But to get things started, the Islanders have announced the broadcast team for this season, and there's a little different things here, right? So the broadcast team, it's obviously Brendan Burke, Butch Goring, Shannon Hogan, and Thomas Hickey, which we knew. I talked about it before about Butch Goring's kind of partial retirement that he is doing this season, where he's only going to be on call for select games, and Thomas Hickey will be the color commentator for the other games, most of the games this season. And that's kind of known. Shannon Hogan's been doing this for who knows how long now. She's great at her job at the host and everything and all that stuff. But there's a couple new additions to the Islanders broadcast team. And here we got Alan Furing, who you guys know who fills in for Brendan Burke. And I know we've had somebody asking about Chris King and the radio broadcast. Well, we are having a radio broadcast this season. It will just be Alan Furing taking over the duties as the play-by-play broadcaster on radio. And I do think Alan Furing is a great broadcaster. I actually do think he has insane amounts of talent, and the Islanders decided to call him up essentially from the AHL to take over for the NHL team. And it still kind of is disappointing what they did to Chris King and Picker and them for, all their work they did for the Islanders for years to, move on from them and bring in Furing, who obviously I think is good, and I think he'll do a great job. And it is a well-deserved job that Alan Furing is getting. And now, here's the two interesting ones. I know we talked about Cal Clutterbuck is getting hired full-time, but he's doing more than that, right? He's hosting a podcast that goes in depth with the Islanders, and I think that will be a great watch. I mean, I've brought it up. Cal Clutterbuck's become an Oscar-worthy actor since retiring, doing all those skits with the Islanders and such, and it's been enjoyable to watch him doing all that stuff. And he's doing a podcast now, so I will definitely be tuning into that and listening. But here is the craziest one to me is Josh Bailey is coming in to do the radio with Alan Furing. And he's also, I don't know if it's every game with Alan Furing or not, but he's also doing an altcast with Cal Clutterbuck on select games, which think of it as what ESPN does, where it's a Manning and Manning cast. The Islanders are now doing that with Josh Bailey and Cal Clutterbuck, where those two guys will just kind of be watching the games and talking about it. And I think that's really awesome. I love what the Islanders are doing, how they're engaging with the fans more than they've ever done. It feels like it's been ages since the Islanders have engaged with us, the fans. And having an altcast with Clutterbuck and Bailey should be interesting. Now, I don't know how often I will watch that. I'm kind of a fan of just the normal broadcast and everything, but I'll definitely have to tune in at least once to see what goes on there, because that is just a crazy story, and that's really cool. That's really cool. So, yeah, the Islanders making some changes to the broadcasting department, and it should be cool. I really like that the Islanders are really gaining a personality, and they're no more that, shut-in team. We're now showing their personality, which is really awesome. Following up from that is Anders Lee suffered an upper body injury, and he will be out for 1 to 2 weeks. And I talked, I will say kind of harshly about Anders Lee in that game, but as it came out, I guess he was playing injured. I don't know, but this is already a bad sign for the Islanders and Anders Lee. There wasn't really anything that happened to him in that game that would make me think he got injured, so I don't know what happened. It was just an upper body injury. And it's definitely not a good sign where our players are already, facing some injury problems in this season. And Siplikov as well was maintenance day to day. So the Islanders are dealing with some injuries here, and Anders Lee, it could be a big loss. I really do think he struggled mightily in that game. I thought he looked like he lost a step and the age was catching up to him. But he's still a player you want to have on the team, at least someone to be there and lead the Islanders. And yeah, so losing him is definitely big. And I wonder if he'll be ready for the start of the season. This has now opened, areas for players to kind of slot themselves into the lineup and see what happens. So we'll have to wait and see what they do. And transitioning from that, as Patrick Waugh talked positively about Cal Ritchie, and if Anders Lee is out, here's a possibility now for Cal Ritchie to make the team. Now, Stefan Rosner asked Patrick Waugh about Ritchie potentially playing wing, and this is Waugh's response. He said he'd be fine on the wing, but he's hard to move from center right now. So big praise from Patrick Waugh to Cal Ritchie, and I will say in that game against the Devils, Cal Ritchie looked very good. He looked like the only player who really showed up, plus Heineman and Holmstrom, his line. They were the only line really doing anything that game, and this is a huge, got both points. He had an assist and a goal, Cal Ritchie. And this is huge. This is huge by Patrick Waugh. Praise for him. And it really makes me wonder if we're going to not see Pajot or Cizikas, one of them, gone by the start of the season. And if they're going to go rolling with someone like Ritchie to start the year, which I honestly hope they do, because Casey Cizikas did not look like Casey Cizikas. He looked like he was definitely an old, washed kind of player there. He did not have the same skill that we've seen from Cizikas. And obviously Cizikas has never been a skill player, but he's always been a hard worker, hard-nosed player. And it looked like he was kind of just, age was catching up. Age was just catching up to Casey Cizikas, and we'll see. And JG Pajot, I know people have talked about him being traded. We have yet to see what Pajot has in store for us in the preseason. So, yeah, I think Ritchie is making a name for himself, and I think Ritchie right now deserves to be in the lineup over a couple of our older veteran players. So I hope that is the case, and that's what happens. And then they also asked him about Varlamov, Patrick Waugh, and if he'll rejoin the group soon, and the answer was just no. So I don't know what's going on with Varlamov, but I think it's safe to assume that we will not be seeing Varlamov for a long, long time. And that's pretty much all. I know we've had some comments. Fans were upset about the lost preseason. Do not care about preseason. Do not care about preseason. That is all I'm going to say. It's just an evaluation period, and good for the players to get their feet rolling. And yeah, that's about it. So if you guys have anything you want me to talk about in future videos, or just respond to the comments, be sure to leave a comment and I'll get back to it. And as always, let's go Islanders.